Hello, I'm Robbie Biscoff, and welcome to Behind the Box. We also have here Rafael Rivera.
Hello.
And Nick Townsend. Today we're going to be dishing out a little bit. As you can see, we've got a little bit better set going on here, and we've made some changes to our format. We're now 30 minutes, and added some other things to the table, hopefully make the show a little bit more exciting for you. So let's go ahead and get started. What's going on, guys?
Not much, just a lot going on this week. We missed 2 weeks, so kind of got some stuff to catch up on. I wanted to start with kind of my best of E3. E3, Electronic Entertainment Expo, was last week, and they showed a lot of games, but just kind of my top 3 games kind of coming out of the show. Really liked, what's the first one we have? Assassin's Creed Unity. So this is kind of an ongoing series. It's been going for a while. This one takes place during the French Revolution, which is really cool. There's all these big crowds that you can interact with, and there's a lot of riots going on. And this is the first time that it has co-op multiplayer, so you and three friends can play together, and that's really cool. That's the first time you've been able to do that.
Still wide open, you know.
Yeah, still big.
Gameplay, buildings, and.
Yep. And like scaling up buildings and stuff like that.
Still jumping into haystacks? Or?
Yeah, that's kind of, you can see on the image there, that's the guy diving into the crowd. But
that's cool.
Moving forward with it, Rainbow Six Siege is the next one, and it's been a while since they're always making these Tom Clancy games based on his books, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six has been going on for a long time. It's an ongoing series, but this one really gets back to the roots. It's a really tight tactical game. You only get 1 life, and it's 2 teams against each other. One's the cops, one's the robbers or criminals, and you basically hold up in a house, and the cops come in and try to take the hostage and get out of there. Looks really cool. It looks like it's definitely going back to the classic Rainbow Six, where you really had to plan things out before you ran in.
How many players can play in that?
That's I think it's 4 versus 4, so there's definitely going to be kind of a competitive thing where like you get your core group and figure out how to work it, work the map and define a strategy, and everybody has their roles. The next one is Evolve, and that's another one that I'm really looking forward to. This one's a little bit different because it's what they call asynchronous multiplayer, and so it's 1 person against 4 people, and one person plays as this big monster, and then the 4 other people are hunting down that monster, and so it's who can kill who. So that's a really cool concept.
I can definitely get into that.
Yeah. So it plays really differently. The 4 hunters are first-person shooters, so your classic like Call of Duty type, where it's like a camera with a gun. Then the monster plays, it's third person, so like you're kind of behind the monster and he's running around bashing people. And the reason it's called Evolve is because the monster tries to eat other animals in the map the whole time, and then it hunkers down into this little cocoon and becomes a bigger monster. So there's 3 stages. So in the beginning, the monster is really running away from the hunters, but then by stage 3, he's this big, huge monster, and he can take on the hunters. And so that's a really cool concept, how it's 1 versus 4. So if you have a group of 5 friends, you can kind of switch out that 5th person, or if you just have 4 friends, you can take on a monster, or if you just play by yourself, you can try to take out 4 players.
Now, what's the timeline on releases on some of this stuff?
The first 2, Rainbow Six is next year. I mean, that one's pretty far out. Assassin's Creed comes out, I believe, October, maybe November.
Don't quote you on it.
yeah, don't quote me on that. And then Evolve definitely comes out October. There's a lot of stuff coming out October. There's I think it's October 7th. They're calling the $300 day because all these games are coming out, and so you can spend $300 if you wanted to buy everything.
Wow, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to spend now on
yeah, I'm not going to be doing
activity. Yeah.
Definitely not going to be doing that.
I'm not sure I would spend the money if I had it anyways, but
yeah, I mean, there's definitely a variety of stuff coming out, so it's not like you're going to want, I mean, you're probably not going to want all the stuff. Like, I definitely don't. There's a lot of games that I'm not interested that are coming out. But it's definitely a good year. It's the 2nd year of the new consoles coming out, so there's a lot more coming out. Like
any Back to the Future games coming out?
Oh.
No, not right now. You
I
know,
think you
maybe-
got a
I
little
think-
something on
I
Back to
think
the
it's-
Future I thought was pretty cool.
I think it's great that we get to talk about Back to the Future at every show so far.
Yes, well, we've only done 2, so let's not go too far into that right now.
There's 3 movies, so we can keep that.
Well, you know, there's a little Easter egg that I found out on the internet, and I always kind of knew there was something up with the scene. You know, if you remember when Marty shows up to the Twin Pines Mall, and he goes back in time following that.
That's the first part where the terrorists are coming after them.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly
yeah.
right.
Okay.
Exactly right. So he goes there to try to save Doc, and he goes back in time and ends up in the barn, which I still kind of can't. But anyways, the other thing that bothers me is he goes in forward, but then he opens the gate and he's the whole thing's
That's
turned around.
true.
But that's not the Easter
Yeah,
egg.
but what's the Easter egg?
The Easter egg is, in the beginning shot where he's going to the mall, it's Twin Pines Mall, and then when he leaves the barn and the farmer's, Mr. Peabody's shooting at him, he runs over one of the pine trees.
Because
And
Mr.
then-
Peabody has a pine tree farm, right? That's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
his
he,
thing.
he was supposedly breeding pine trees.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
that was just
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
Right,
That's big thing.
so right where he had his mailbox, there's a couple of twin pines there, and Marty ran over one along with his mailbox, and then when you go back to the scene of the mall, it's Lone Pine Mall.
I didn't. I never did notice that.
That's pretty funny.
That is a pretty cool Easter egg.
Yeah.
I would never think about that myself. So
So that was cool.
yeah, pretty cool.
I hear the Blu-ray is good for that too, right? Weren't you saying that the Blu-ray set of that is
Yes,
really good?
yes. The Blu-ray is beautiful picture, and I will say that the first movie itself is incredibly beautiful quality. And we have a rule breaker here. Well, whose phone is ringing on the
Oh,
set?
no.
Dang.
I mean, what is this?
That was like the Pink Panther
Like,
theme,
what,
I think.
what do you got going on there? We don't have time for this. Turn that phone off.
Well, the only married guy in the
Speaking of not
My
having
apologies.
time,
yeah, we
speaking of
probably
not
should
having
move
time,
forward a little bit. That's not where we're going.
That's
next.
not where we're going.
I knew that was. Oh, there. That's where we're going
Oh,
next.
right.
Yes, that is my subject. I know. I talk about 24 a lot, but after this last Monday's episode, I think I had to mention 24 a little bit. There was this scene. Well, first of all, it's probably the most shocking episode of 24 that's been on since the series was in its run in its entirety. And there's a scene in there where, Jack, and I'm sorry, spoiler alert, anybody hasn't seen the episode yet, turn your volume down for just a second, but there's a scene in there where, Jack finally saves the day and he confronts the terrorist that's been doing all the events. And usually, Jack would take them in and turn them in and let them be processed and everything, but man, he is totally different Jack. He takes this woman and tells her that, only death he's going to have on his hands is hers, and he tosses the bad person out the window, and they show everything, just like her flying out the window and bam, pouncing on the ground, and it was just kind of like one of those, whoa, what just happened?
Well, you showed it to us, and I think that definitely, I kind of talk bad about network TV sometimes because they're a little bit too PC for me. They kind of they cut away from things that I want to see or just realism.
What do
do you
want to see, Nick? You want to see blood?
Bloody murder. That's what,
Well, I mean,
we'll talk
next-
about that later in my next segment. But
I think they showed as much as they could.
yeah, and that's
on
what I was
Fox.
saying. I think I'm glad they pushed the limit with this one because they definitely were like, it made an impact. Literally, she made an impact on the ground, but it also made an impact watching it because you don't see that on it's on Fox, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so
It's
you
on
don't-
Well, it was the sound effects, though. That was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice
Well,
splatter.
yeah, it did actually. It was somebody up to the microphone and went like that. Yeah, that's how.
Oh,
they
it was
did
probably like lettuce slamming on the ground. Or something like that. You know how they always do that.
So, what do we got else going on, Nick? I think you got something for us here.
Yeah, so we're kind of talking about different segments that we have, and one I wanted to go over is Netflix, because everybody has Netflix now. It comes on every TV and
Yep, I
and
do. How
every
about
Blu-ray
you?
player.
You, Raphael, you got
Man,
have-
all the time.
You have Netflix even if you don't want it. I mean, basically. So I wanted to kind of go through one of my favorite series that's on Netflix, and that's 30 for 30. It's this it's presented by ESPN Films, and it's all these documentaries, around an hour and a half, on a range of topics. Everything's based on sports, but it goes from I watched one called Bad Boys about the Detroit Pistons during the mid-90s, which is really cool because they were kind of taking on Larry Bird and and even Michael Jordan just like throwing them on the ground, and just like everybody would get mad at them, but they're like, hey, we're winning, so we're gonna keep doing it. So that's a really good one. But then there's even one like called Broke, about how all these star athletes that make millions of dollars run out of money. And then there's one on called The Price of Gold, about the Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan thing. And then there's one, I think it's called Scapegoat, about that Boston or that Cubs fan that caught the ball and got like basically ridiculed for the rest of his life. And so it's a really good series, and almost all of them are on Netflix. So I know you guys aren't into sports, but a couple people are.
Guilty as charged. My
So-
eyes are kind of glazing over now.
But it's good.
But I mean, you
they're-
get
they're-
to see the nitty gritty behind the scenes type.
Right,
you
so
know,
it's not always like, hey, look at this great football star. I mean, there's one called You Don't Know Bo, about Bo Jackson. That's really cool because he's a two-sport athlete, and that didn't really ever happen before. But there's also stuff like like Broke, about how they just spend all their money, and that's more about economics and about the culture of it than about sports itself. So
I still have Bo Jackson's rookie card.
let me get that.
You know?
Can I have it?
So
Chris,
Rafael, what are these
brand
little things right here?
Oh,
Oh
wow.
yeah, that thing.
Well, these are called the play eyes. But that's this guy right here, the big guy here is Bo, and that's Yana. They're two different types for different levels, but they work from ages 5 to 12, and basically what they're about are teaching young kids how to program simple tasks, movements, reaction to objects.
So they're robots, right?
They're
programmable
actual robots, and the kids can program them on their iPads, and they're designed to be that intuitive and that easy. But it's amazing. Their object detection, you can add things to it. They play instruments. They react to each other. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, And I hope one day to be able to get these for my kids. But
What
There's
age?
some
What
of
ages
those
are
for
they
you?
for?
5 to 12 years old.
Oh, okay. So they
they
can
start
start
really young.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
And I
love
do. I
something
don't want
like
to. I
that.
have to break it for a second to say I do want to point out here that I'm not just messing around over here. I'm actually trying to run everything while we're doing this because I know I'm like
Yeah.
looking over and I'm like all occupied. This is my first time doing this, so bear with me for that. But anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
It's okay. I forgive you this time.
Yes. Yes, please.
Well, yeah. That,
But anyways,
that's just
the
really cool.
programming's they use it on the iPad, and it's very easy to use. And if you look it up online, there's full product demonstration and everything like that. And it's not another one of those crowd-funded projects, and they've already met their goal. And hopefully, see that probably under the Christmas tree this year, maybe.
Not under my Christmas tree.
Well,
Why
mid-year.
not, Nick? What's up? You
Actually,
don't want
I
no
mean-
robots under your tree?
if they had one for adults, I might check it out.
They do have one for adults, a programmable microchip board called an Arduino, and you can buy it at Radio Shack and plug it in. All the programming's free online. So if you want to create a robot, you can.
You know what else you can get at Radio Shack? Microphones. Much like they're using in this
Yes.
movie that.
And those are the actors that
Ah.
portrayed Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons on the movie Jersey Boys, which is my next topic I'm going to be talking about here. I went and saw that movie Friday, and when it opened, and I gotta say, I'm gonna have a bias here because yes, I'm of the younger generation, but I grew up listening to Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, no thanks to my parents, and I just loved their music. Tried to collect as many things as I could. So I thought, well, I better go to this movie on opening night to see. It's based on the musical itself. And I was expecting a musical, and I'm not really into the musical type stuff, like where they're just kind of hanging out, and then all of a sudden they break out into song and dance, and and it's like, oh, okay, what's
I do
going
that
on
sometimes,
here?
It's a
like-
musical? I had no idea.
It was based on a musical. Now,
Oh,
the
oh.
actual movie itself is not, for the most part, a musical. It is a docudrama about the band itself, and it mainly covers how Frankie Valli was kind of pushed into the band by the guys and who kind of led him up. But there was a lot of things I didn't know about in the movie, especially the turmoil between the money that one of the guys in the band lost and was secretly investing in all this stuff over the years and didn't know. And
Oh, wow.
so when the guys found out, and then, and this is real life, Frankie Valli and the group took the responsibility, which led to one of the other members leaving. And I had no idea that's why the group started to split, was because Frankie said, we've got to tighten this down and everything, and I'm going to take the responsibility for it because this guy helped me make my career. So I'm going to take his, you know.
Well, that's cool that, I mean, even though you know a lot about them, you're still learning things.
Well, and I didn't know that because I just knew like the music and the stuff like that. And the only thing else I'm going to say though is I was very surprised at the reaction in the theater because it does end with that's the only time in the whole movie when they go into like a musical style and they're going down the street and they're doing these melody of Four Seasons hits. Everyone in the theater started singing along to it, and of course I had to once everybody else was, you know. And then at the very end of the last scene, the whole like theater started clapping, and I was just, and then people hung out to sing the songs in the credits. So I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so,
it's definitely different.
Definitely a neat experience, but yeah, definitely a cool movie. Even if you don't like it, you know, even if you don't like Frankie Valli and Four Seasons in per se, and if you like music of that era, just go see it. It's a pretty good movie.
I would have gone with you just so I can hear you sing.
Oh, I used to sing really well. I don't know anymore what I sound like, but I used to sing.
You still sound good, man.
You can get a little barbershop quartet thing going.
Oh, no, I'm not falling for that again.
Don't get him started,
Inside joke.
Yeah, we got him once.
So what do we got next coming up? Oh, Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Who's going to talk about that?
So that's me. I was sick last week. That's why we didn't do last week's show. I came down with some kind of flu virus. I think you got it too.
It went everywhere.
Well, you know. But so I'm looking through Netflix, and I've already watched all the 30 for 30 movies on Netflix. So I didn't want to watch that. So I go to HBO. I'm like, you know, let me give Game of Thrones one more try. And I watched the first episode, and I'm like, well, let me watch the second episode. And then I had already watched 2 full seasons, just like back to back.
Oh, wow.
And it's really good.
Binge watching.
Yeah.
I know all about binge watching, so.
Yeah, and
no, he said watching, not washing.
Just watching.
That's weird.
Way back the tape. Way back.
But it's really good, and I'm not into that style of fiction, like the fantasy, because it takes place kind of like medieval times, but also there's some fantasy elements that come into it. But they're handled really well. It starts off just talking about this one family, and then it brings in another family and talking about their world, and it keeps it small. And that's pretty much the first season. Near the end of the first season, it expands that world. And now that I'm almost done with season 4, there's all these different stories all over the place. And I know you don't like when, like Walking Dead, when they were stuck at the prison and it's just like every shot is in the prison. This is not like that at all. There's people everywhere, so all around the world, and they're jumping between these different stories. There's always something going on. And it's not just dialogue. There's a lot of action.
And now is it more of like a fantasy type plane, or is it kind of in between like the old times and fantasy? Where does it kind of go in that? Because I don't know if I really like. I like fantasy, but not to like a huge extent.
Right, and that's where I think they do it well, because I'm not into that at all. And so they subtly hint at it in the beginning. They're like, hey, this is this real world, but there might be these small supernatural elements or fantasy elements, like a dragon egg, or like some sign of a demon or something like that might have been there. And then once they move into it, it's handled well. It's not overdone, and they don't dive too far into it. And you're so rooted in these characters by that point that it's still this strong character drama. And the best part about it, like with any other good HBO drama, is the relationships between the characters. And the fact that it's on HBO, they can push the limits.
I bet you're gonna be seeing some weird stuff going on
Yeah,
there.
I mean, every episode.
What kind of weird stuff you expected, man?
Don't ruin
anything.
What are you doing?
Every episode starts
You know I
with
can
a
only dish it
warning
out.
for nudity, violence, strong adult content. Like this is a very adult show. I mean, if you're squeamish, you should not watch this show.
And
Definitely
definitely
not
don't let the
squeamish.
kids watch it, Raphael.
Oh no, they're not gonna watch it.
Yeah. I mean, there's torture scenes, there's
I heard a lot of people die.
gratuitous sex scenes. Yeah, that's the thing.
J.R.R. Martin was called a murderer. I hear on the internet,
Anybody can
he
die
kills
at
all
any
these
time,
characters you love.
which is great because everyone is at risk. No one is safe, and the world the world is changing, is ever changing. It's called Game of Thrones because everybody's trying to be king. There's like 10 different people that are trying to be king of the entire realm. There's these 7 kingdoms, and nobody wants to be kingdom of just their kingdom. They want to be king of everything. So it's people taking out kings and kings having people killed and poisoning people and chopping people's heads off and putting them on stakes and all that stuff. But there's also these big battles going on. You know, there's the undercurrent of people stabbing people in the back and stuff like that. But then there's also the big wars and big battles that go on, which are really cool. Like I was telling you that you should just go skip forward and watch a big battle, but then I was like, no, because the battles matter more when you care about the characters.
I'm definitely intrigued, though. And I did actually, before you even watch, I did watch like the first 20, 30 minutes of it, and I liked it, but I fell asleep, not because it was boring, but just because I was really tired that night, so, yeah, I didn't,
The last thing I want to say about it is that they do a good job with not making it so serious because it is a very dark show. It's very dark. There's people, like I said, being tortured and killed and in dire straits. But the reason that everyone likes Peter Dinklage's character, the Tyrion Lannister, is because he is the most human person in the show, and he makes you laugh. So they bring in humor at the perfect time. Like when somebody's getting tortured, they'll cut to a humorous scene right after that. So they keep it light, and it's not always just, oh man, this world is horrible kind of a thing. But
oh, so we got another crazy gadget up on the screen here.
Oh, I love
Rafael
gadgets.
has got the crazy gadget thing going on. So what's up with this thing, man? Because this looks like something I would buy, because especially that camera on there.
Hexo Plus, another crowd-funded technology item. If you've got a GoPro, it's GoPro ready. The beauty about this copter right here, unmanned copter, obviously, is that it's an autonomous robot, which means it'll follow you. And how does that work? Well, it's simple as using your iPhone. It has a 3D graphical user interface that you can set up, how far it's going to be from you, the angle, and everything. And all you have to do is set it, it'll take its flight path, and it'll follow you through. So if you're
so I could
biking,
like take selfies of myself like all day, because I know people like talk about how I like to do
selfies. You
selfies.
can do selfies,
So, I mean,
but you know, let's say you get your mountain bike and you wanna have that great footage coming over your head.
I had to get in shape first, but
Well, I know, but you know, once you get to that point, you can get that robot and it'll fly right over your head and stay in there. I mean, it is unbelievable how accurate this thing is, and you just set it just like it shows here on the screen. Any angle you want, any distance,
damn. Now,
altitude.
pricing.
I mean, it's
What's the pricing? Do you know?
about $700. That's what they're looking at.
that's not too
Yeah.
bad.
That's fair, right?
I mean, as far
think
as
it's about-
drones go, I mean, that's pretty.
If
pretty-
you already have a GoPro, it's going to cost you $700.
and anybody that does that.
Oh,
stuff
so that
already
is
has-
without the camera.
That's without the GoPro.
That is without
Right,
the camera.
right.
But everybody that does that stuff has a GoPro. Like I have a GoPro, and that would be awesome to use it for stuff like that. I do see that they're out in the open right there, so I'd want to see how well it does dodging trees. But because I mean I'm going through the woods.
Well, you know, you got a point. You know, I guess a lot of the people that developed it were, you know, skiing and snowboarding. So can you imagine all this white powder, and you can't exactly get a large helicopter drone and an operator into the location. So if you get dropped off from a helicopter and you already set your drone to follow you, you just throw that helicopter out, jump out of the actual helicopter you came in on, drop down on the snow, and that thing will follow you right down.
Wow, I might have to buy one.
I mean,
Maybe. I don't know.
Just have it following
surfing,
you.
skiing, you know, man, it's gonna be amazing.
Walking, segways,
Walking.
you know, all those things. Speaking of
Anything.
segways, moving to our next topic.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I knew I had to talk about this, and I got to put up the graphic here for it. Halt and Catch Fire on AMC. I think I kept watching. I think you stopped for now on it.
I'm deep into the Game of Thrones well, and I'm almost done with it. So as soon as I'm done, I gotta catch up like 4 more episodes. But
Well, I'm going to say that it has continued the quality of the pilot, and in fact, I think it's actually gotten better than what the pilot was. The writing on the show reminds me of Breaking Bad incredibly. It's just very close to Breaking Bad, and they've done some things in the couple of episodes. That's why you gotta hurry up and watch them. But it's like the third episode here, and yes, this is another spoiler alert. So if you're watching *Halt and Catch Fire*, turn this down for a second. Spoiler.
Well, if you haven't watched this episode.
Well, if you're watching the show and you haven't watched this episode, hold on for a second, because the main character Joe McMillan, he's shown as this very ruthless, not patriotic. What do you want to say? Like he just has a lot of energy and like a visionary kind of person, and he was in this place where his boss was getting him into this deal where he was going to make. He was only going to get 20% of the profits from the computer that they're going to build, and this woman was just like saying, "You don't have a choice in the matter because I'm your only investor, and you're going to do what I want you to do, basically." So he kind of opens his eyes up and says, "Well, what do I do to get out of this deal?" And I'm kind of going, "What's he going to do?" Well, he notices that the bellboy or the guy that works for the woman is staring at him, So he goes into the back room and makes out with the dude. And then comes back out and rubs it all in that woman's face, and they blew the deal. And they blew the computer deal, and he got what he wanted, and he didn't have to give her that 80% of his product. So,
Wow.
And his boss has no idea what he did. He was like, "What'd you do? What did you do?" And
that little short guy?
yeah, he did not know. And I gotta say, when that happened, I don't care whether he's gay or not, whatever, that was just like, whoa, what are they doing? It's like the third episode. What is he doing? And of course, next episode, it's not about him having a gay affair with some guy. He's sleeping with the other girl again. So I mean,
Well, sounds like it was just a power move. Like it was just him trying to, assert his power. That's definitely reminds me of Game of Thrones. There's a lot of that going on in Game of Thrones. Just people. Using that to take control of somebody or have power over them and to get people in trouble. But
now I'm tempted. I think I may go home, and once I get done, because I have a lot of work to do over the next 2 days, non-behind the box related. So, but I do want to check out Game of Thrones. I definitely will be doing that. But you got to promise me you got to watch some more.
Yeah, I gotta.
And Rafael, you got to watch some of this stuff, man. But I know you got wife and kids and everything. Yeah,
it's tough. So I end up watching a lot of Netflix and whatever else I can find.
Well, check out that 30 for 30. I mean, they're not all just straight, sports stories. I mean, they are, but a lot of them are more interesting than that. Like the Nancy Kerrigan one is pretty cool.
Like documentaries.
It kind of gives you a background to some of the events that you just know happen. There's one about the Magic Johnson announcement when he came out and said that he had HIV. So there's definitely some good stuff there you should check out.
I'll have to.
Well, I think we've about come to the end of our road here. Have we exercised all our subject matter for today?
I think so.
Awesome.
I was going to talk about the World Cup a little bit. Let me just mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
Definitely watch that on Thursday. We're playing Germany, United States, and it's only on every 4 years. So even if I know it's 90 minutes and it's hard to watch. There's no commercial breaks, but we're probably not going to beat Germany. The Portugal game was kind of our chance to make it out, but if we tie Germany, we still have a chance to make it out of our group and do something. We're not good at soccer, so. But we're America, so we've got to win, right?
Yeah, gotta win.
Exactly.
How about you, Rafael? Got anything in close?
Well, I'm just excited mainly about our new setup here, and
Yes, we really did a number, didn't we, since our last since our
not
pilot episode.
Not too shabby, we got to.
No, and I think we need to get some thanks in there first of all for go ahead, Jay Burgess. Let's see what's
Jay Burgess, #1 in production.
What's this?
Building here.
What is this thing called? Hey, Jay's standing back there. We're on the air, Jay. Hey, what do we gotta talk, man? You gotta give us your business, man. What are you doing?
I don't think
He's not in here. Oh, there is he coming out the door over here? The man.
He's not even in the building.
He is solely responsible for helping us put this show on. What's your business called?
Oh, the production warehouse.
The production
The
warehouse.
production warehouse. We would
Yes.
like to very much give thanks to the
You want to
production
start
warehouse.
over again and then?
No.
No. This
We'll
is
just
live,
go
man.
with it. We're not starting over again.
This
Yeah,
is
so
live.
the production
This is good.
warehouse is a
There
great
you go.
set. He also has a lot of equipment and just he's a great guy in general. So give him a call.
We love him.
He can definitely help you guys out.
And another special thanks to Donald Smith at Lucky Dog Television Productions for giving us the equipment to put on this show with our cameras and our recorders and all the stuff that we got here. So, and also Rafael and me and Nick, we've all contributed to parts of the set and everything to get this thing together today.
Teamwork, guys.
In fact, it was kind of haphazard that it
It came together.
it came
so,
together today, and I'm really proud of it. I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
Definitely.
well, I think that's about it, guys. So if we want to close it out, and Nick, do you know? Can you give us everybody out there that wants to write us and talk to us? Or,
Yeah. So we're gonna try to post this about every Thursday or Friday. If you like us on Facebook, you'll get an update when we post a video. So definitely do that. Everything is Behind the Box TV. So Facebook.com/Behind the Box TV. On Twitter, we're at Behind the Box TV. Behind the Box TV on YouTube. Also on Vimeo. So just like us, favorite us everywhere, and we'll keep you updated with. We're also going to try to post some stuff during the week, kind of what we're watching, and give you reminders of what's on TV. So keep checking back for that.
Yeah, stay with us. Stay tuned. We hope we'll get more likes, more views. So that wraps it up for Behind the Box this week. Good night.